What were we talking about?
Types of cosplayers.
Types of cosplayers.
Types of cosplayers.
Well, people that have been on this channel before it became what it is now would know
Not many of you.
that we were the type of cosplayers that I hate this phrase, but one of my old cosplay buddies described it best. That cut corners.
Cosplay cheapskates, I think.
Cosplay cheapskate. Yeah.
Channel. And no, and it's one of those where the reason why I learned how to make my own cosplay is because you always made my cosplays and they fucking sucked.
But here's the deal, it was a hobby, and unless I was like super into whatever it was I was working on with like the limited materials that we had, it just wasn't going to turn out good.
From Party City and Goodwill.
Yeah.
We just
but
stitched together.
It wasn't necessarily like cutting corners, it was just that it was like a hobby to us.
I just remember
and we made it work.
I just remember we had people that we knew people that would spend like top dollar.
Oh, it's their livelihood.
It's their livelihood. Not even their livelihood. It's just their lives. And they would like spend top dollar to get the most expensive material for their cosplay to be like 100% show accurate. And like I remember when we went to that sleepover and she was making Ruby Scythe out of like, I don't know,
model magic
and had to like go. I couldn't believe her mom, like, it was 10 or 11 o'clock at night and she's like, Mom, we have to go out and we have to get more model magic from like Walmart. And we went to Walmart at 10 or 11 o'clock at night to get more model magic so she could finish her scythe. And
I will say this, I really appreciate the parents that like took the time and effort. I know Dad let us style wigs on him a couple of times before we got styling heads. So just shout out to those parents real quick.
Well, then he would drive us
or
around.
Partners or whatever.
Pop would drive us to like Joann Fabrics to get stuff. And would pay for most of the cons. But like I can't stand, like, we've known people who have gone to the cons. But like this is, like you said, their livelihood.
It's a hobby. It's fun. And there are some people that get very
into it
and almost like to a unreasonable degree. It has to be 100% accurate. It has to be the very fabric. It has to, and they get crazy about it.
I remember we were at a convention and you were cropped out of someone's photo because your costume wasn't accurate enough.
Well, it wasn't, yeah.
Like, you spent a lot of time on this one, and they cropped you from it, and I think, like, the two other girls you were in the photo with, like, weren't happy about that. They're like, hey, why would you crop her out of the photo? And it was like, she had a problem with, like, the wig was cheap.
Oh, that it didn't look accurate to the show. But seriously, I've been in cosplay groups where you would have people that just did not care. Go ahead, cosplay how you will, show up in your costume, and it doesn't matter, we're all friends here. And then I was in some other groups where it was like, oh, well, your cosplay wig, why did I say it like that? Your wig has bangs, and the character in the show does not have bangs. So you're either going to have to fix that, or you're going to have to find a wig that actually looks like it did in the show.
Yeah, that...
And it's...
Gosh.
Now, we talked about the 3 adjective rule. And there are some people that do this is my gender bend, casual, modern color swap AU character that get upset when people don't recognize what character it is.
What was it like? There was like a group of girls we knew, and they always like way out there apparently cosplays, and it's like, this is my alternate universe, opposite, modern day, aged up, a color swap, Eloise Trancy. It was like a red hoodie and dark blue jeans and black Converse and like brown hair.
Well, that sounds more like Tord from Ed's World, just from you describing it to me.
But it was supposed to be, according to them, Eloise Trancy.
But that's just it. If you understand that, like, this is going... People might look at this and think that it's something else, or that this looks like another character. just be prepared for that. But some people get like legitimately offended when it's...
You know what? My favorite. Do you remember when you made me that horrible? I think it was like Sierra from Final Fantasy 13.
Do we ever figure out how to pronounce her name?
No. Anyway, so you had made me this shitty Sierra cosplay. And I remember walking through the convention center with it on, and like I saw other Final Fantasy cosplayers, and I was like, oh my god, can I get a picture? And I love your costume, this, that, the other thing. And they're like, yeah, yours is nice too. I'm like, well, can you guess who I am? And oh no, who could it be? I'm like, Sarah from Final Fantasy 13. And they're like, oh, it's because she's not a very well-known character. She's not very well-known. And it's like I looked it up, like, I have since gotten out of Final Fantasy, but I looked it up like years later, and it's like she ended up being like really important. And like for them to be like, oh, she's not a very well-known character, it's like she's one of the main characters.
I think that's the other type of cosplayers. Cosplayers that are either cosplaying their OCs like exclusively, or cosplayers that do characters that like nobody really knows about. I think we did like Sula Pinsky from...
Yeah.
I almost said Final Space. That's not right at all. Oh, Human Star.
There was one time that...
Somebody recognized it, though. That I knew.
There was one time... Yeah, the creator. There was one time I had to write... I was dressed up as Tigress, and I was like, oh, I'll give you a hint. And I think I kept saying the movie was Pixar before I realized it was DreamWorks. I was very tired that day.
Well, that's not you, dumbass.
I actually wrote Tigress on my arm in Sharpie, and there's like a picture of me, like, you know, at a booth in like doing the peace sign, because we all do peace signs in like our cosplay pictures.
That's why we don't cosplay anymore.
Yeah, our cringy cosplay pictures, always doing like the peace sign. You can see Tigress written on my arm. It's like as if to remind me years later this is who that's supposed to be. Which was not awful. That was actually kind of fun.
It was fun. We don't cosplay too much anymore. Some people still do that we used to cosplay with, and it's kind of like, how do you still do that? Oh, you know what would be great is if at cons they just kind of give you like a name tag. Hello, my name is.
They do.
No. I don't mean like your badge. I mean like an individual, like, hello, my name is, and you can just stick it to each one of your cosplays. That way everybody knows who you're cosplaying as, whether you cut corners to cosplay, whether you don't give a shit, whether you have a 3-adjective rule for your cosplays.
You just got like really into that.
Whether it's an OC,
like the American flag, and like, you know, what was it that starts playing? Remember in Toy Story 2 where like Buzz is giving that speech, and like I think it's like the national anthem, or it might have been the French national anthem, but like there's the flag waving in the wind behind him. That's how
what you strongly I feel about this. I feel like no matter what, if we all had not just our badge, but like a hello, this cosplay is name tag. It wouldn't matter what kind of like cosplayer you are.
We don't even cosplay anymore, and you're like getting real into this. You're like, well, justice.
They would always
the
know.
Community and fairness and liberty and justice for all. And
amen.